Yo, what's good? It's Theslykrow. Hope you all been having a good week. So in this video, I wanted to discuss the controversy behind the story of The Last of Us Part 2. Since the release, this has been a very controversial topic on the net, and I just had to get my point across. There has been a huge disconnect in the Metacritic scores between the user reviews and the critic reviews. And if you do sort out the mega review bombing that happened during the first week, there's been a lot of legitimate complaints there as well. One being the fact that the trailers were very misleading, how they were able to deceive you into thinking that Joel was still alive, and Ellie was on a warpath along with Joel, trying to take out another faction or whatever, which I believe that is a very solid argument to make. It's kind of like that moment when your favorite YouTuber posts a very clickbaity title and you fall for that trap. So I definitely get the anguish that a lot of hardcore fans felt with this sequel. But I wanted to sympathize with Neil Druckmann's unique vision and the artistic choices he made during the story. And so I wanted to discuss and analyze all of the controversies that many of the anguished fans were complaining about. And the first one here is, did Joel deserve to die in that fashion? Okay, I admit it's a very random story decision on Neil Druckmann's part, but if you really think about it, like, how else could have Abby's group went into Jackson? There's armed guards at every point at the outpost, and even Owen was like, "Nah, chief, I ain't with it." So while it was a random thing how Tommy and Joel happened to be patrolling during that time when there's a huge outbreak of the infected walkers chasing down Abby, it just so happened that they crossed paths, and there was also a storm happening at the same time, which was also another random case, because if that storm didn't happen, maybe Joel would have had a second thought, like, why should I be going into this group of strangers that I don't know? But with the storm and also helping a straggler, and I think that Joel has also gotten soft from all the years helping with the patrols, and it has been very quiet during the 4 years at Jackson. I think that's what made that Joel soft there. Now, as far as how brutal the death of Joel was, I think it was slightly over the top, but Abby had every right to torture him, and I believe that Abby was still regretful after she has done that. So but how it was presented, I think it was very necessary for the story, and it gave motivation for the story, and gave motivation for Ellie to go on a vengeance warpath mission. And that brutal death scene was a great shock value for the game. Another point I wanted to address here is, was the deaths of Noah, Mel, and Owen unwarranted? Well, first of all, Ellie didn't want to hurt Noah. It was only the fact that how Noah wanted to act as a scumbag, and she wanted to give up her own life to protect Abby's location information. She was so protective of Abby that she was willing to risk her life. And in the torture scene, I love the fact how Ellie was like, "Oh, we can make this fast or we can make this slow," which is similar to the WLF's slogan, "May your survival be long, and may your death be swift." So I found that kind of ironic, and how that was a shot against the WLF, and how even Ellie didn't even know the slogan, which was pretty funny. And the fact here is that, Ellie did not want to torture Noah at all. Deep down, she knew that Noah was innocent, and so she had a huge anxiety breakout after she did torture Noah. And the other thing here is that Ellie did not want to kill Mel or Owen. It was only the fact that Owen played the hero and wanted to take the gun out of Ellie's hands. That's when things got dicey, and Ellie had to pull the trigger. Just to save her own ass, it was just as a form of protection. That's why she killed both Owen and Mel. I guess stabbing Mel in the throat was kinda, that was a savagery move by Ellie. She didn't have to go that far. But at the end, she had to do what she had to do. Another controversial point here is Neil Druckmann trying hard to make you like Abby more than Ellie, and even paint Ellie in a negative light? And this is evident in the second half of the game, where you spend more than 8 hours playing as Abby. And even in the beginning of Abby's section, she cares for the dogs, whereas Ellie has to kill the dogs in order to progress. Now this argument, I guess I can see where they're coming from, because even though you could technically skip all the dog segments and try to sneak away from the dogs that you come across, there is still one scene, cinematic, where the dog chases Ellie at the hospital, and Ellie had no choice but to silence the dog, and unfortunately she did have to kill the dog at that moment. Now what I think about this situation here is that Neil Druckmann tried to capture the retribution arc of Abby's story, and while Ellie did a lot of terrible things during this story, how she killed a lot of the WLF and torturing Nora and killing both Owen and Mel, so it definitely seems that Ellie is a villain. But by the end of the story, we see that Ellie finds herself, her humanity in herself, and decides at the very last moment for her to forgive Abby and to let her go. And I think we do see a bit of forgiveness in Ellie when she was on the farm as well. On the farm, she did try to let it go. She tried to let her inner demons go. And so I do think that Neil Druckmann showed love not only to Abby, but also some empathy towards Ellie at the end of the game. And another point here that was controversial to most fans is the justice for Jesse argument. Now this was a result of rage in Abby's part, since it just so happened that after she did save Lev's mother and she was coming back to the aquarium, she was very demoralized to know that both her closest friends and her boyfriend was dead. And at this point, Abby lost Manny, Mel, and Owen, so she definitely has her own motivations for vengeance here. So when Abby went to the theater, she saw Jesse with the gun pointed right at her, so she had every intention to kill both Jesse and Ellie at that moment. And if Ellie didn't duck, she would have been gone right there. So the final controversial point I wanted to discuss here is, why did none of the characters say to Ellie why Joel is a bad person? Now Noah was the one who hinted the fact that Joel did a lot of terrible things at the hospital, and the fact that he was the cause of ruining many people's lives. So there was a slight hint there. And also when Ellie was confronting both Mel and Owen, I wish Owen said something more about what happened, and it would have also fit his character personality a bit more, seeing that Owen was a very nice guy all throughout the game here. But all in all, I can see why Neil went with this approach in the story direction. He wanted the Abby flashback scene to hold more weight when we did switch back to Abby, and how we got to see the events unfolded after the first game. And so those were all the points I wanted to address that were controversial. But that being said, the story could have been rearranged in a much better way to better suit the story. And I do think in the beginning, players should have gotten the chance to play more as Joel. You know, you could have had a patrol sequence with Joel and Tommy, maybe taking out some runners in their patrol paths. But overall, my review of the story would be a 7.5 out of 10. And this is because the story has a lot of bad pacing issues and a lot of bad filler here and there. Alright, thank you guys for sticking it this far, and make sure y'all leave a like and a comment. Let me know what y'all think, man. It's your boy Theslykrow signing off. Peace.